Do you find it hard to build up your savings? You may be experiencing trouble budgeting for food, a common mistake that a lot of people make for years before finally figuring it out. Thankfully, we can help. Food is an expense a lot of us excuse when it is too high, as there are a lot of factors at play. Perhaps you didn't meal plan very well, or maybe you felt like you went out to eat more than usual. These variables, as well as more obvious ones like the country's current economic situation, can obscure the fact that you are spending too much at the grocery store than you should. Which is why we are going to be talking about some easy ways to save money on groceries for every trip. Stay tuned until the end too, because we have a tip we don't think you'll ever forget. Go to a grocer with a rewards program. Most of us are creatures of habit and tend to go to the same place for groceries every time. If that sounds like you, then you should consider checking into your grocery store of choice's loyalty program. While it is understandable that most people don't want to give away their phone number or email to a company, in the case of the grocery store, you may actually be missing out on tons of savings each month. Because grocery stores act as vendors for other companies' goods, they usually have deal offers available, which can give you a discount you may not even know is available without being a loyalty member. Plus, food is just something you are going to have to spend money on anyways, and so you might as well get something back in return. If every time you go to the grocery store you save $10 thanks to the loyalty program, that is still money consistently added back into your bank account every month. Make yourself a list. Because there is so much available at the grocery store, many people can get overwhelmed, spending money on stuff they don't need. A super simple way to keep yourself from wasting money at the grocery store is to make yourself a list, as this will help to keep yourself on track while shopping. Even if you mostly know what you want, giving yourself some firm guidelines will help you stay away from making those regretful purchases that will leave you scratching your head. When you look at your on sale at most grocery stores, it can seem like almost half the store is on sale at any given moment. If you are looking to save money and maybe don't have the most restraint in the world, you can try and limit yourself to only buying stretch purchases like soda, snacks, or that kind of thing when they are on sale. This is actually a strategy that people will employ in order to get their spending down and to practice frugality. And there is no better place to get in the habit of showing restraint than at your grocery store of choice. Giving yourself this restriction will help you realize that even if there is something you want right now, that keeping yourself from buying it until the moment is right is more important. Learning this lesson won't just help you shave down a few bucks on groceries. Either, it will also help you develop a better natural instinct for spending, which can be a useful skill in business. Look for recipes that stretch your meal week farther. A mistake that a lot of people make when they go shopping is that they don't realize how important the recipes themselves can be to keeping costs down. Sure, a steak or hamburger is nice, but for that same amount of money, you could make yourself a super pasta dish that will last for multiple dinners. Leftovers have become a bit of a bad word to many, but in our opinion that shouldn't be the case. Not only are you saving money every time you microwave some leftovers instead of starting a new dish, but you are also saving yourself precious time and energy. While many people like to cook, it's expecting a whole lot to assume that people are willing to put a full day of work in and then cook for themselves every night, and it can really wear you down. Before you head to the grocery store next time, try to find some recipes that will take you multiple days so that you can focus less on cooking and more on the other important parts of your life. Before we get to our next money-saving tip, we would like to ask you to leave a like on the video if you are enjoying it so far, and to remind you to stay until the end for our handiest tip on groceries. Share the responsibility with a roommate or friend. Despite being social creatures by nature, most human beings don't tend to want to lean on one another these days. It's a shame too, since sharing the work on groceries and cooking in general is a great way to save money. A good way to get this done is to split the share of the labor in half, with each of you making 2 or 3 meals a week, depending on how far each meal will take you. Although you are going to spend slightly more on ingredients, you are going to save a ton in the long run as you and your friend alternate between meals. In this system, you are effectively cutting the amount you are spending from anywhere between 33% and 50%. And you are also having to focus way less on meals. Most grocery stores actually don't account for you buying items as an individual and usually assume that everything is being made for two anyways. That means that when you are cooking on your own, you are more likely to end up with food you may just be throwing away, which is one of the biggest ways to burn up money at the grocery store. Find a friend, roommate, or even family member to try this out with. And you'll find a lot more money can go into your bank on the fact that you are not going to spend the time to shop around, and that is an assumption that you as a consumer can definitely take advantage of. Specialty grocery stores like Trader Joe's and to an extent Whole Foods have also demonstrated that some places simply prioritize certain elements of the grocery experience more than others. So if you feel like you are spending too much on produce at your current grocery store, try and snoop around at other competing grocery stores to see if you can take advantage of it. Sure, you are trading a little bit of your time for potential savings, but in the long run, you are going to have a much better concept of what is fair and what you may be paying through the nose for. You as a consumer should never feel like you are being taken advantage of, especially at the grocery store. And if you do, you should make a point of trying to make it right. Not settling for the hand you are given is the backbone of most financial success stories, and there's no reason why you shouldn't take that stubborn mindset into the food space as well. Never go into the store hungry. Did you know that the music you hear in mall stores is specifically designed to get you into the mood to spend money? It's actually true. And it goes to show just how far companies will go to get you into the buying spirit. That's why the worst thing that you can do as a responsible spender is to go into the grocery store hungry, and despite all the jokes made about the subject, it's still a mistake we see time and time again. If this video teaches you anything today, it should be that you must head into the grocery store with a sort of plan and be as prepared as possible going in. If you just roll out of bed and wander into the grocery store for ingredients, you are probably going to make some financial choices that will make you wince. Hunger is one of our strongest motivators, and it can make us throw away concepts that are important to us. Frugality is one of those concepts that quickly get discarded when you enter a grocery store on an empty stomach, and there aren't a lot of people out there that can say no to a growling stomach. Rather than enter into one of these situations, you should keep your wits about you and take the grocery store a lot more seriously than most of us actually do. It's one of the biggest reasons that many struggle with their savings, and while the solutions may sound simple, they aren't by nearly as many people as you would think. Take a look at your billing statement and find patterns. This is probably the best piece of advice that we could give to people looking to save money on groceries. And once again, it's a fairly obvious one in premise. Most of us have some sort of idea on what our vices are, but it's really only when you look at your monthly spending on groceries that you can discover what's really going on. Maybe you buy a lot more soda than you initially thought, but never paid it any mind. Or maybe you are spending a lot more on red meat meals than you figured, and it might be time to tighten the belt a bit. We all have habits that form without us even realizing, and there's no shame in taking a good look at your billing records in order to spot them. What does become a problem is that a lot of people would rather not look at all, because it can shock or even upset them to discover where their money is really going. While we can certainly understand that this is a difficult thing to confront, it is also the only way to live a frugal life and to truly take control of your finances. What are some money-saving tips that you have discovered in your own life?